head to one of the toughest places to play when they face the ferocious Ravens. Then on Monday Night Football, it's a super matchup when Tom Brady leads the Patriots to take on...
This is the first race of Peter Hansel behind the wheel of the BMW and his first contact with the team. One of the most popular rally drivers in the world, winner of the Dakar for motorbikes 6 times in the 90s and the Dakar of cars 3 times with 2 second places. He was the first person ever to win the Dakar in both categories. This super stage is held in the facilities of Motorland, which has many curves, climbs and drops, something which won't be usual for the rest of the race. The French driver has been 7 months without competing, and this is his return behind the wheel. Peter Hansel finished the shakedown with a time of 4.38, and that made him the winner of the super special stage. Since winning the Spanish 125cc Indoor Enduro Championships in 1991, Nani Roma has been a household name. He's the only driver to have won the Baja in both categories and is tied with Isidre Esteve for the record of 6 wins. This is the second race for Roma in the BMW team after having previously competed in Portugal. After the disappearance of the official Mitsubishi team, Roma was able to find a wheel to sit behind, which kept giving him great possibilities for competing at the top level. The Spanish driver has always recognised that he's not a specialist in short, fast races, and this super special stage was just that. In fact, he showed it by finishing 1.5 seconds slower than Peter Hansel and being even beaten by Campos and Chicheri. Guerlain Chicheri, the former world ski champion and recently proclaimed world champion of 2009, is competing in his first Baja. Chicheri was the first to appear at Motorland in Teruel, along with co-driver Tina Turner, winning co-driver with Al Attiyah in last year's Baja. The Frenchman finished 3rd in the shakedown, only beaten by Peter Hansel and Campos, and ahead of Roma as the 4 BMW drivers filled the top 4 places with only 1.5 seconds between the 4 of them. The Portuguese driver Felipe Campos, one of the most consistent drivers, finished 3rd last year, his best ever result in the Baja Spain. He's competed 16 times since 1988 and has finished 4th on 2 occasions. He knows the off-road environment well and he's more than familiar with the Baja. All of his biggest triumphs have been in Portugal, where he started racing at the tender age of 13. Campos, accompanied by Jaime Baptista, finished the shakedown in 2nd place, just 0.4 of a second behind Peter Hansel. Veteran French driver Pierre Lartigue will be 61 in October. He's won here 4 times, in 85, 93, 95 and 97, and returns 10 years later to bring back memories of his earlier successes. He finished the shakedown in 13th place, 27 seconds off the lead. Jean-Louis Schlesser is a total driver, having experienced Formula 1 in the 80s before finding his niche off-road. His impressive career includes 2 Dakar wins and 4 Bajas. He's the owner and designer of his car and team, driving the buggy he designed himself. Italian driver Larini must have wondered whether the journey to Spain was worth it. His car overturned after just 2 minutes on day 1. He became the first driver to abandon. By the end of the 3 days, 29 other drivers, almost 40% of the participants, joined him, failing to finish the raid. The general standing after the first day: Peter Hansel first, followed by members of his BMW team. Peter Hansel will go out first on the 2nd day. To try to cut down on the team's costs in this year of economic crisis, the organisers chose to use the same 2 stages for days 2 and 3, measuring 120 and 90 miles respectively, and both close to Zaragoza, the HQ of the second 2 days racing. Saturday dawned with slightly more favourable weather conditions than many teams had feared, with temperatures only reaching 30 degrees centigrade and a light breeze dispersing the worst of the dust, enabling the drivers to have better visibility at certain moments. The drivers also had to take into account the deterioration of the track over the 2 days, as cars, bikes and trucks all repeated over the same dusty and pitted surface. The cars were ready to go at 8 a.m, with the starting order determined by the results of the prologue, won the day before by Stefan Peter Hansel. So he opened the race. Strategy played a major role in the early part of the race. The Baja is a sprint race where attacks are needed from the start. Starting first is a definite advantage because there's less dust and therefore it's easier to drive. The wind was removing the dust and making it possible at times to even drive at pleasure. Peter Hansel dominated the first section despite a few small braking problems. The Frenchman claims to still be adapting to his new car, so all in all it was a satisfactory result. Driving at a high level, he gained a 9-second lead, and after stage 1 it was becoming clear that the race would be between him and Nani Roma. Nani Roma, meanwhile, started in 4th place. He admitted the day before that he didn't usually do well in the prologues, and he showed it. So he had the handicap of having to race through the dust left by his colleague Guerlain Chichery. Nani had some problems with his teammate over the first few kilometres, but was able to ride a little bit more comfortably from then on. He soon found his pace and was able to start to attack. Although the time lost when he was stuck behind Chichery meant that he surrendered 9 seconds, he was obliged to force himself over terrain he knows only too well. Luckily for the BMW team, Nani Roma had problems with his brakes as well. As you can see, although the cars look very large from outside, inside it's cramped, especially for someone as tall as Nani.